Hey romance writers, it is Jenna Harte with another video, and today we're going to be talking about heat levels in romance novels, a guide on how to determine what heat level your book is. Now, I think that all romance readers and writers understand that romance novels come in various heat levels. And by heat, we're talking about the level of sensuality and intimate bits that are in the books. But what is a little more challenging to understand is what each level outside of sweet and spicy does each of these ratings represent. If I say my books are about a 4 on the heat rating scale, is your understanding of a 4 heat level the same as mine? Now, while I believe heat level is somewhat subjective, this video is going to attempt to explain what heat level is and why it's important, and give a basic description of a 1 through 5 heat level rating for your romances. Let's start with why heat level is important in romances. First of all, let's reiterate what we're talking about here, in that heat level in a romance refers to the degree of explicit intimate content that is going to be in the story. And just like romance readers have favorite or hated tropes, so too do they have preferred and avoided heat levels. And for this reason, heat factor in a romance is something that you need to consider when you're marketing your books. Readers who don't want any heat will be upset if you sell them a book that has some hot bits in it. And of course, conversely, there's a market for readers who want explicit content, sometimes highly explicit, and if they don't get that content when they expect it, they're going to be annoyed. So now let's talk about what each heat level is and what it means. Heat levels are typically classified into 5 categories, although the names of these categories can vary. For the purpose of this video, we will be using the 1 through 5 rating system, with 1 being sweet, 2 being warm, 3 being sensual, 4 being spicy, and 5 being erotic, but not erotica, which is in a class all its own. So let's start with rating number 1, which is sweet. Now, the sweet romance is similar to a cozy mystery in that there's nothing explicit, there's no violence, there's no vulgarity, there are no intimate bits. Many, if not most, don't even have kissing or any physical contact. Basically, there isn't anything that hints at the characters being sensual or being turned on. Any mentions of flutters have to do with love and emotion, not arousal. The sweet romance is usually okay for all age levels, including those under 18, but readers of all ages enjoy them. Like other romances, you can find them in a variety of categories, such as historical, contemporary, suspense, YA, LGBTQ, plus they also have a variety of tropes, such as second chance at love. Faith-oriented romances are also generally in this category. Okay, so next is heat level 2, which is warm, and this is 1 step up from our sweet level. This warm level usually has some kissing and may allude to an intimate encounter, but it doesn't actually depict it. Any sort of intimacy occurs off the page. In general, similar to our sweet level, there isn't any content that hints at arousal. There might be a few flutters or tingles, but really that's about it. Like other romances, warm romances cover a variety of categories and tropes. And many YA books tread into this heat level these days. Okay, so on to number 3 heat level, which is sensual. Now, unlike the first 2 heat levels, this one can include sensual aspects that provide titillation. Whereas our number 2 warm level might have a kiss that expresses love, in this level, a kiss often is an expression of lust that leads to arousal before it gets to love. Now at this level, a romance is going to have explicit intimate bits, although they don't necessarily use coarse language, although on occasion you might find an F-bomb. Now, this is a level in which writers need to be careful about how they write intimate scenes if they are trying not to use the coarser language or clinical language, because this is the level in which often euphemisms are used, but not used well, they can come off kind of funny, and you don't want your reader laughing when they're supposed to be enjoying a romantic relationship between a couple. Now, romances in this heat level are for readers that are 18 and over, and depending on where you publish and distribute your book, you may be required to indicate that. Sensual romances are found in all mature reader-oriented categories, such as historical, contemporary, suspense, paranormal, and of course, all the various tropes. Now, many of the old school romances, say from the 80s and 90s, by Nora Roberts and her peers, generally fall into this heat level, but there are plenty of authors today that also write in this heat level. Now we're on to heat rating 4, which is our spicy level. Now this level really started growing in the early 2000s with authors like Laurie Foster, and Harlequin came out with their Desire and later their Blaze lines. Now at this level, the intimate bits are much more explicit than what you're going to find in the sensual level, and often there will be some coarser language that is used as well. And of course, it can be found in all the different categories using all the different tropes. Now, the new adult category generally falls around here or sometimes straddles between sensual and spicy. Okay, so now we are at heat level 5, which is erotic, and this is the highest level that doesn't tip over into erotica. At this level, there are often more intimate bits than at the other levels. So whereas in the earlier levels there might only be 2 or 3 intimate bits, when we get to here there could be 4, 5, or more. Now at this level, our scenes are going to be highly explicit, often using coarse or harsher language, and often these books contain kink or intimate role play. Some of the most well-known authors at this heat level are E.L. James of 50 Shades of Grey and Sylvia Day, but many indie authors are dominating at this heat level on Amazon, especially in KU. And like all our other romance books at all the other levels, you can find all sorts of categories and tropes in this highest erotic heat level, from paranormal and contemporary, historical, all of it's there. One thing that's important to note, that if you are writing a romance, regardless of the heat level of your romance, The romance, the relationship between the people in your book is first and foremost what your book should be about. It should be loving, healthy relationship between two people who grow and have an arc through the book and come to their happily ever after or their happy for now. If the book is only about intimate bits and not really about the relationship between the couple, then that is in its own category called erotica. Now, I may have said some things here that you don't completely agree with, and that is because heat levels are somewhat subjective. And then there's a challenge of sort of determining where you may sit on this rating scale. For example, maybe you believe you're spicier than a 3, but you're not quite a 4. Does that make you 3.5? But even with an imperfect subjective rating system, identifying a heat level helps our readers navigate the content they prefer to read and avoid what they don't want to read. Basically, letting readers know what to expect can help you avoid shocking or disappointing your readers. If you have a provocative cover but no intimate bits, a sweet reader might avoid it because of the cover, and a level 3 to 5 reader might be disappointed that there wasn't anything explicit in it. And of course the opposite is true too. If you have a sweet looking cover but there's explicit intimate bits in the book, a sweet reader is going to be lured in by the cover and they will be upset. Now, does that mean you should come right out and say your heat level in your book description? If you are a sweet romance writer, I would say yes, so that sweet readers can feel confident in what they're getting. Now, generally, if you're writing in the heat level of 4 or 5, chances are that your book cover and your blurbs are going to reveal just how heated your book is, so you don't necessarily need to come right out and say it. This is one area where studying the market can be really helpful because you can look at the books that are within the heat level that you write and you can get a sense of the types of covers that they create, the types of blurbs that they write to reveal to their readers what they can expect in the book. Do you have any thoughts or additional ideas to share about heat levels in romance novels? I would love to know. You can let me know in the comments below. Now, if you would like to read a text version of this video, you can do so over at writewithheart.com, and I will include a link to the article down in the description below. And while you're over there, I hope that you will check out our free online community for romance authors. You can set up a free profile, access a growing library of tools and resources. You can blog, you can join groups, you can create your own group even. We have weekly tips and industry news. We have a weekly Zoom call for support and camaraderie, and a whole lot more. I hope you will stop by and check it out. And also be sure to check out our shop where we have some fun and inspirational merch to support you in your romance writing. I want to thank you so much for joining me again today. And until next time, this is Jenna Harte wishing you peace, love, and happily ever after.